Aaron, you guys use a bit more 11 personnel the past couple of weeks. Is that just the added additions of MVS and Adam, or is that something that maybe you saw or someone saw and said, hey, we can get more out of this against these teams?
That's a question for Arthur probably, but we use so much big personnel. I'd say in the middle of the season, starting with the Minnesota game, and you see a lot of teams get weeks to scheme for that. So we've gone to some smaller personnel, I'd say, the last few weeks.
Aaron, you
Have you seen more consistent details in the route running and all the concepts that you guys are trying to execute over the past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think detail's been good. I think the preparation's been good during the week. The Monday to Saturday is super important. So I think we've been locked in. We've had better practices. Today was obviously lesser speed, but I feel like the full speed practice has been better the last couple of weeks.
Aaron, you had some battles your last couple with Detroit. What stuck out to you about Aiden Hutchinson and what that Detroit team is?
Yeah, I mean, he's a game wrecker. He's a fantastic player. He's making his way down the path of being a generational type player. He's had a great career. Obviously, he had a tough injury. I believe it was last year. Is that correct? But he's battled back, and he's anything but a one-trick pony. He's got all the moves: pass rush, great spin move, cobra strike, speed to power. He's a talented guy. He's one of the few guys in the league. You really gotta know where he's at in every play.
What's your relationship like with the Detroit fans as opposed to what you have with maybe Chicago and Minnesota?
I would say with Chicago, compared to Chicago, it's much less hostile, I would like to think. Minnesota, for our fans in Green Bay was always, I've said it before, I feel like they borderline hate Minnesota, and they just have a complex with Chicago because it was always big Chicago, little Green Bay. And Detroit was always battles, but there wasn't maybe the hatred that they have for Minnesota or Chicago.
How's the crowd noise different in the dome, just in that setting?
Well, back in the day when we played there, it wasn't a big factor. In the early years we played there, there'd be some games where you had some crowd noise, but I would say since Dan got there, it's been a different type of crowd, and we were there when kind of their run started going. I believe in 2022, we could have buried them, and they beat us and kind of went on a run there and finished the season hot. Then the next year they were in the NFC Championship, I believe. So Dan has obviously created a good culture there, and the fans are believing and showing up early and really loud. So it's a really good environment to play in.
Aaron, you're down to your fourth string guy protecting your blind side. What's Cook been like for making his NFL debut, and what has always been in his first couple games?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he played really well. I thought he played well when he came in, and I thought he played really well this last week. He's a real calm guy in the huddle, and I like his demeanor. We wanted to make sure he felt comfortable, so we gave him some chips early in the game and some slides, but I think he handled his own really well. And I think every rep for him is confidence, and really proud of the way that Dylan played.
How do you make the RPO so dangerous? You would typically when you think RPO got plays, you're thinking fast quarterback, but like the play where like you held it and you hit pad, or you held it and you hit Washington out in the flat and you hit 13, you make that work really well. How do you do that when like speed isn't like the biggest threat that you have?
The speed of my release is a threat. So different types of speed there, The game has changed when it comes to RPOs. I feel like Washington, maybe in the early days with RG3, was doing a ton of it, kind of bringing some of that first RPOs. We were doing it from a different standpoint, but the true quarterback read with multiple looks, with pass routes, with hand it off, and with the quarterback moving it. Obviously, there's not a lot of read option plays in our offense for me, but I can get the ball out of my hand pretty quickly. And in the RPOs, you're looking at one guy usually, so it's a quick read. And in that situation, I was reading off of Dotson. He decided to pressure, and I got the ball out quick to Pat because we know, they're policing it pretty hard. The refs have told us they're inclined to throw the flag first and pick it up second. So if it's borderline, they're going to throw the flag and then they'll look at it up top and pick it up if we were legal. But there's a lot that goes into it with the line not going downfield. And first and foremost, I got to get the ball in my hand quickly.
And how do you feel like your experience that benefits you, especially this time of year, and how can it benefit your teammates as well?
Well, I've been a part of a lot of meaningful football games down the stretch of my career. I think it's just a steadiness. Like every game is the same. The games in the beginning of the season are just as important in the win-loss column as the games late. Obviously, there's more pressure. There's more to play for late in the season because things have started to shake out, and you know where you stand in the standings, and you know what you need to do to get to the next phase of this chapter. So, it's just trying to be the same every single week and trying to bring the same energy, same consistency, and same level of confidence that you do in week 1 that you do in week 16.
Aaron, you guys ran four.
You and then you.
You ran 4 tush pushes on Sunday. What kind of a weapon is that to have in the offense? How does that kind of change what you guys do, maybe the first 3 downs?
Well, we've been pretty good at it. Connor's done a nice job at it. We had a wrinkle, giving the ball to Kenny against Chicago. That was a 50-yard gain. It's not a play that anybody really likes, I don't think, across the league. There's been some talk about trying to get it out of the league. I think there's a way to maybe find a happy medium with some of the splits and stuff, but the way the rules are now, it's been a play that we've had success with. So Mike likes it, Arthur likes it, and obviously Connor likes it too.
Do you like being standing back there for it? I mean, do you want to be on the field? Could there be some wrinkles in your usage of the tush push?
Yeah, you never know. I will say that it's not a 10-on-11 play. I've seen that places where, it's 10-on-11. What's the quarterback doing back there just standing with his hands on his hips? There's a lot of guys who aren't involved in that play, usually a deep safety, and the guys on the edges have absolutely zero impact on the play. So as long as we're going to keep sneaking it, I'm going to keep standing back there and hopefully signaling first down.
You're 4 weeks out from your wrist. Is it either like healing or getting less painful? Are you used to it? Have you adjusted to however you're injured by it? Do you even notice it anymore, I guess, at this point?
Yeah, it's still not 100%. I'm having battles with the training staff, happy battles, not knockdown, drag-out battles, but trying to feel more normal. So to go through practices like today without anything on my wrist, I'm still not without some pain with certain movements, but I'm trying to get the strength back in all those little muscles that have been unused for a number of weeks. So it's a work in progress. Last week was obviously just a little pad on top of it. Not sure what this week's going to be, but hopefully, at some point there's not going to be anything on my wrist.
So today was the first day without it, you're saying?
No, I've done a few of these days.
Aaron, is adrenaline, the games mean the same in September as you do in December, but is the adrenaline different in December when you sort of know where you stand?
I mean, not for me, but I'm one of the old guys, so not the oldest guy in the league, but I've been in part of a lot of these games, and I think you have to approach it the same way. As crazy as it might sound, the best way to play well on game day is to find a way to make the game seem like practice. And the only way to do that is to make practice as game-like as possible. So that's why practice is so important to me. Every rep matters, even if it's a walkthrough. It's because you have to play the game out Monday to Saturday. So when you get to Sunday or game day, Monday, whatever it is, it feels like practice. Because in practice, there isn't the nerves that show up on game day. So how can I make the game feel as much like practice? I have to make practice feel as much like the game as I possibly can.
Kai, can I just have one follow-up on that? I mean, you've talked about sort of practice being a little up and down in recent weeks. Have you seen, as a whole, as a collective, like an improvement, maybe more focus as it gets thin here late?
Well, I can't talk about the defense because even when they're doing stuff, I'm working on the side with the line. But I feel like the execution has been better at practice the last couple of weeks. And again, that doesn't translate to wins. It really don't. We've had many, over my years, many poor practice weeks and excellent execution on game day. But I do believe it's easier to play well on Sunday or game day when you have a good week of practice. So we've been trending in the right direction. There's a way that good teams practice late in the season, and we're starting to resemble that.